Hey guys, welcome back to the channel PMYG/Edu. It's been a pleasure of sharing this content. Thank you for your support. So, in the last video, we discussed about the topic of introduction of C programming, and in this video, we are going to discuss the topics types of constants, keywords, rules for writing constants, keywords, and variables. So basically, coming to the types of constants, so there are two basic types of constants, right? So in the first type of constant, they are called primary constants. And in these primary constants, there are a subcategory of constants which are known as the integer constants, the real constants, and the character constants. Coming to the secondary constants, right? So these are the arrays, pointers, structures, union, and enum, as we know. So coming to the keywords, right? So basically what a keyword is, keywords are the words whose meaning has already been explained to the computer or the compiler. So these are like, the other identities, or the social identity numbers, right? So they cannot be used by another person. Every single person has their own identity number, right? So keywords are like that. These words cannot be used in variable names. So I have displayed some keywords, and you can memorize them actually. And coming to the next, there are some rules in writing some constants. So we basically will be discussing about the primary constants, which are the real constants, the integer constants, and the character constants, right? So the first rules of constructing integer constants. So these are simple. So the first digit, right? An integer constant must have at least one digit, and then it must not have any decimal points, and then it can be either positive or negative, such as in integer, right? So if no sign is preceded an integer constant, it is assumed as positive. No comma or blank are allowed within an integer constant. The allowed range of integer constants is -32768 to 32767, right? So that is a range. So coming to the rules of constructing real constants, so we basically have these rules of constructing real constants. The rules are, a real constant must have at least one digit, such as in same as in integer constant, and it must have a decimal point. So it can be either positive or negative. Default sign is positive. No comma or blank space are allowed in real constants. So rules for constructing character constants. So character constants rules are: a character constant is a single alphabet, a single digit, or a single special symbol enclosed within an inverted comma, right? So both the inverted commas should point to the left, right? So as I displayed here, so for example, this one is actually valid and this one is not valid, right? The maximum length of character constant can be one character, right? So coming to the rules of constructing a variable. So a variable name is a combination of 1 to 31 alphabets and digits or underscores. Some compilers allow variable names whose length could be up to 247 characters, but we don't actually use them. So still it would be safer to stick to the rule of 31 characters. Do not create unnecessarily long variable names, as it adds to your typing effort. The first character in the variable name must be an alphabet or an underscore. No commas or blanks are allowed within a variable name. No special symbols other than underscore can be used in a variable name. So these are the rules for constructing a variable name, right? So coming to see keywords. Keywords are we actually discussed about this topic, right? So keywords are the words whose meanings are already been explained to the C compiler. So keywords cannot be used as variable names, as I said earlier, and the keywords are also called reserved words. There are basically 32 keywords. So I gave you an introduction of what C keywords are, and this is a brief description of what they are. So let us write our first C program, right? So there are basically some rules in writing the C program, which you need to know in order to have an error-free program, right? So you have to follow these steps, right? So each instruction in a C program is written as separate statement, right? So we have a separate set of statements which are known as, a program, right? So each instruction, right, separate set of instruction is given as a statement. Therefore, a complete C program would comprise of series of statements, right? And the second point would be the statements in a program must appear in the same order in which we wish them to be executed, which means that C is a procedural language, so the statements are executed in a procedural way. So you have to arrange the statements in an order that you want the statements to be executed, right? So and then there is an exemption for this, of course, when we are using jump statements, deliberate jumps and control statements. These a procedural thing goes on, and the statements which are stated in the jump sequence will be executed, right? So blank spaces may be inserted between two words to improve the readability of the statements. However, no blank spaces are allowed within variables, constants, or keywords. Right. So I actually explained this point in the previous rules of constants and variables. So all statements are entered in small cases. C has no rules for the position at which a statement is to be written. That's why it is often called a free-form language. So every C statement must end with a semicolon. The semicolon acts as a terminator. So as in English language, we use full stop, or people would say it as a period. So now we use what we use here as a terminator is a semicolon, right? So our first C program. So here we can see it is a simple interest program. Here the main function is there, and then we actually gave a declaration, and then here we assigned some values to the variables, and then we gave the formula of what simple interest is, and we printed it to the output, right? So we gave the input, we did some process and gave, and the program or the statements that we have written gave us the output. Now coming to comments, comments about the program should be enclosed within these symbols. As I written this, this is a comment. So, though comments are not necessary, it is a good practice to begin a program with comments, right? Indicating the purpose of a program, right? If you are working with your colleagues, you have to indicate the purpose of a certain, sequence or statements of program, in order for your colleague to understand them, right? So basically, comments can be also used when you're testing a large, right? So imagine you are having millions and millions of lines of code, and you have many functions in that code divided. So you want to execute no only a single no state a single function of code. So you would comment out the entire program by just using these two symbols, right? This slash and star and slash, these two symbols. And you would only uncomment the section that you want to test, or you detect, or you think that there is a bug in that. So you would uncomment that and you would execute that, and you will know the result. So comments are very powerful tools in software engineering, and there are many ways to write comments. So you can write comments in between statements, and you can write before the statements, right? This can be written here, or you can write them after the statement termination, right? This can be written here, or you can write them in between the statements, right? So this can be written here. But remember one point, comments cannot be nested, and if possible, I'll show you an example in the next subsequent video. Summary of what we have read, right? So what we have studied is that types of constants, and we have studied about the variables. So we studied that constants are of two types, primary constants and secondary constants. Primary constants are subdivided into integer, real, and character constants, and secondary constants are subdivided into arrays, pointer structures, unions, and enum, right? So we learned what a keyword is, and we have already we have read about the rules of writing constants, keywords, and variables. Basically, these things are actually important for examination perspective. The rules for writing constants, variables, and keywords. And I actually thought that you should not remember keywords, but in the examination point of view, you have to actually remember the keywords, right? So at the end we have discussed about comments and what are the uses of comments and what is a comment in C programming, right? So okay, in the next video we are going to discuss about the structure of C programming in detail. And thank you for your support for our channel. Subscribe for more content, and if you have any queries, and if you want the material, just comment on this video. And you can DM us through Instagram, which is PMYG/edu, or you can just mail us in the mail provided in our about section of YouTube. Thank you.